folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey, and today we're taking a look at this game right here, Pirates of the Seven Seas. It's a neat little role selection game where the end goal is basically to have the most treasure. Go figure, it's a pirate game, right? At the end of the game, and black spots can give you negative points, and not adventuring gives you negative points and all this kind of stuff, but the goal is to have the most treasure. Let's take a look at it and see what you think. Alright, so in Pirates of the Seven Seas, your basic goal is to get the most treasure. Treasure is tracked by the scoring track that's on the back of the box, and it's also the currency that you use to do different things within the game. So you're going to be using victory points to do other things in the game that will hopefully score you a profit of victory points and so forth and so on. So your main goal is to get more treasures. This game is played in a variable number of rounds, which means that the number of rounds that it takes is kind of left up to how the game is played by all the different players. Each round only has two phases in it. It's a real simple mechanism. The first phase is choosing characters, and then the second phase is performing actions that your character gives you the ability to do. So this character deck is actually the core mechanic of the game. To explain the basic anatomy of a character card here, you basically have a description of what the guy does. So the shipwright here allows you to buy more ships for your fleet using treasure chests to do so. This gives you a bonus. If you're the only person to play this character during the round, then you get a bonus extra ship for free. Then down at the bottom are a couple of other things here. This tells you that you are able to perform rituals on your turn. And then this means that if you play this, it stays down on the tableau. You can't pull it back up into your hand until you play a card that has that symbol on it, which means that if these two were played, at the end of the round that I played the captain, both of these would come back into my hand. If you play the shipwright, what you're simply going to be using is you're going to be using treasure chests to purchase more ships for your fleet. Well, you start the game with 7, and then 3 of yours are in reserve. So right now, if you were the only one to play this guy, you would get 1 ship for free. Then you'd have to purchase the other 2, which means you simply use 2 treasure chests, and you get these 2 guys. Now, if I were the first player and the only person to play this, I would have gotten 2 for free, and then had to pay for the last one. The governor card is the one that, first of all, if you play this, you must take a black spot. So you would take a black spot from the deck and put it on your tableau. But if you're the only person to play the governor, you can return a black spot. But in addition to having to take a black spot, you would also take one of the 4 Corsair or flag tokens, meaning that you are now allegiant to that country. If a plunder card comes up during the captain's phase, and it has for example, if I'm the English allegiant one, and it has English, if I go on that plundering mission, then I'm going to be taking another black spot. The really cool thing about the governor is that if you take a Corsair, you also get all the ships that are in the reserve to your fleet for free. You don't have to pay for them. So that's the real benefit of playing the governor. The captain allows you to play a plunder card from your hand, and then what this tells you is that, first of all, 3 ships, Spanish ships, are going to be in that caravan, and then, depending on the number of players in the game, we can elect to send a number of unloaded ships to take part in that plundering mission, so to speak. So, for example, in a 4-player game, which is what we're enacting right here, each player could send the number of ships that are in the caravan plus 1 in order to attack that caravan. When all of the people's ships are in here, the person who played the captain card takes all of the dice into his hand and then rolls them into the top or the lid like so. The dice that are the closest to each other are resolved first. The strength of the ships is the number of pips that are on the dice, and so these 2 are the closest. If it's even, both ships are sunk, so both of these would be sunk. Then we go to the one that's next closest. So this is a these two are the next closest. So the blue 5 would kill, would sink that ship there. And then we go to who's closest over here, and this one is closest, I think. If there's any kind of disagreement, we can use the ruler that's at the bottom of this to do that. But this one would kill this, and then 3 and 3 would knock out each other. Then each player will get a number of good tokens equal to the number of ships that they have left, starting with the captain. Now, at this point, you would have to take the goods tokens, look at them, and see which ones you wanted to keep. If they are talismans, you simply put these in your tableau, and each talisman gives you yin-yang tokens that you can use to perform rituals later on, which we'll get to. And then any goods that you have will be, if you want to keep it, has to be put face down in your tableau, and then one of your ships has to be carrying that, so you would denote that by just putting the die on top of it like this. Ships that were not sunk return to your fleet, and then any ships that were sunk, so white, green, and black would all each get one yin-yang token for each ship that got sunk. And then these ships go back to the reserve in order to be purchased later on. The next character that you can choose to be is the Aborigine, and what this means is you can change the port that is up here right now. But maybe I have a lot of fruit, and this isn't a very good port for fruit. So maybe during my turn I would play this port, where I play it right down here, and I have 3 fruit. Now I can sell here if the merchant comes, if I play the merchant, and I can sell here and get a lot more money for my fruit than if I were selling at Pirates Cove. All right, so the Aborigine is the one that allows you to play a port card and change the port. If you're the only one that does it, you get an extra good card. You get to take 1 loot card for your own, and if you're the first player and you're the only one to play the Aborigine, you get 2. The next character that you have to choose from is the Shaman, and this one is the one that allows you to play a curse. Curses are found in the adventure deck, and they can be a number of different things. I'll go over one of them just so you kind of get an idea of what kind of things curses can do. So, for example, Blue wants to play this curse, the Tavern. So what would happen here is that you would throw 1 red die on the game board per player in the game. So you would take these 4 red dice and roll them. And then you can assign these numbers to each player. So, for example, 1s give that player a black spot. Well, the 2, let's do that first, would make you lose 1 good card. And then the 3s allow you to lose 1 treasure chest. Some of the other ones, all of the ships have to go and be rolled, and if you roll a 2, this happens. If you roll a 3, this happens. So these curse cards are kind of a random type event that are usually negative. The Tavern does have some positive things on it. The Shaman here, if you're the only person to play a Shaman, your ships would be immune from whatever the curse card does to them. If the curse does affect ships, and you're the only person to have played the Shaman, you'd get to protect your ships from that. The second to last character that you can choose from is the Merchant, and the Merchant is the one that allows you to go and sell your goods in port. So, for example here, if I go here, green has 3 rum cards, and so I would be able to sell all 3 of these if I had 3 and get 2 each. So selling these 3 goods at this port gets me 6 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's important to note here that these blue chests that are on the game board denote when you have to send a ship of your fleet to guard your treasure on this treasure island. So from 10 to 19, you have to send 1. From 20 to 29, you would have to have 2 guards there if you have this many treasure chests. So that's something to keep note of, because the more points you get, the more of your fleet it's going to take to guard that treasure and keep it safe. So that's one thing. You're going to have fewer ships to work with as the game progresses. The Cartographer allows you to draw 1 adventure card and put it into your hand. And then if you're the only person to play the cartographer, you would draw not one, but two and put it into your hand. And if you're the first player and the only one to do the cartographer, you would be able to draw 3 cards and put it into your hand. If people are not playing the cartographer, it's going to take longer to get through this deck, which means that the game is going to go longer. But you do have to keep in mind that cartographer, adventure cards rather, at the end of the game are worth 1 black spot each that are still left in your hand. So you do want to be drawing from this to keep the game running, but at the same time, you don't want to have too many, because if you get stuck with a lot of them at the end of the game, you can lose a lot of points. These rituals that can be performed on some of the cards, remember that if the card has this, you are able to perform rituals on your turn, but if it has something like this, you are not able to perform rituals. What the rituals do is simply this. This ritual, by spending 2 yin-yang tokens, you'll be able to have one of your ships carry 2 different goods. This ritual here makes your ships unsinkable. So you can purchase this for 3 yin-yangs tokens, and one of your ships would be unsinkable, which means if he's defeated in combat over here during a plunder, instead of going to the reserve, he would simply come back here. This one is called the bargain ritual, which means that, if you'll remember, if you sell 3 or more fruit, you get 3 treasures per card. Now, normally, if you have only 2 of any of these, they're only worth 1 each. But if you're able to do the bargain ritual, which is done by spending 3 yin-yang tokens, you can use 2 as if they were 3, and then, for example, I would get 6 for 2 fruit instead of just 2. And so the game would progress with each round choosing a character, performing those characters in order, with the shipwright going first, governor second, captain third, aborigine, shaman, merchant, and cartographer. So each action would be performed in numerical order until the end of rounds card comes up. When this card comes up, it's placed face down to the person who revealed it, and then 3 more turns occur before the end of the game. And then we would do final scoring, and then the game ends with the person who has the most treasure chests winning the game. So that is Pirates of the Seven Seas. This game I was actually very surprised by, because the game that came out around the same time as Pirates of the Seven Seas had very similar mechanics, and I wasn't so keen on that one. The game takes about 90 minutes on your first game. Then after that, then you'll probably scale down to the 60 minutes it's actually on the box. First of all, one of the things that I really enjoyed about it, and what I really enjoy about a lot of these games that have the player or the character role selection, I really enjoy that mechanic because there's a lot of thought of, first of all, what's my strategy? How am I going to use these characters at the right times to enact the right things to get the most benefit from them? But at the same time, you're also saying, you know what, I think the green player over there, I think he's definitely going to be playing this card, so I don't want him to get that extra bonus, and yeah, I can do this right now too. The combat mechanism during the plundering dice, I thought, was going to be convoluted. Oh, we're going to spend half the game measuring between dice. And to be honest with you, we only use that ruler maybe once or twice because it's usually pretty obvious which die is closer. And if there's agreement around the table, who cares? Don't use the ruler, just eyeball it. And that's what we usually did. Rarely did we use the ruler. I did also like how the special abilities, like having unsinkable ships and having ships that had bigger holds that could hold more goods, and then the bargaining deal. Cool abilities, and it makes for a little bit more of diversification between the different players, because you start with the same cards, you start with the same size fleet, so you're kind of vanilla at the beginning of the game, but by the end of the game, you have built your ships up to be unsinkable. You have 4 unsinkable ships in your name, or you're just really playing that bargain where you're just really haggling with the people at the market when you go sell your goods. that is a really cool idea that they had. I just wish they would have called it something different, that's all. A couple of things that you have to look for as you're playing through the game. Stay away from trying to get those black spots. Those black spots, while they're necessary sometimes, if at all possible, stay away from getting them, because negative 3 points at the end of the game, or if you have 3 of them, negative 9 points at the end of the game, that can really, really hurt. Also, adventure cards. You've got to manage your adventure cards well, because each of the cards that are in your hand at the end of the game count for a black spot. That's minus 3 points just for not doing one of the cards in your hand. The game is very fun, very enjoyable. I really liked it. I'm giving this a 7.5 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. Maybe even an 8 with the right people to play the game in. You know, people can get in there and role play and that type of stuff. So that's it for me. My final thoughts for Pirates of the Seven Seas. We'll see you on the flip side, folks.